YouTube, coming at you again with a parking lot review of this Saddlemen seat on my Softail Street Bob. This is going to be a long-term 15,000 mile review, not 1,500, 15,000 miles on this seat. I'm going to let you know what I think about it, if you should buy it, if I'd buy it again. It's all coming up, stay tuned. Alright, so let's take a minute to talk about the styling of this seat and the build quality on this seat. It's a typical Dynabro style, you know, it's sexy. Everybody's got that style on their bike. That's why you see the seat everywhere, and it's one of the top selling seats out there. You got options like the LS stitching, like what I have, the lattice stitch, or you got the tuck and roll, which is more like a pillowy kind of stitching. The build quality is definitely a 10 out of 10 on this seat. I've had this seat on here for 15,000 miles through the summer, winter, rain, sunshine, anything, and it's held up. There's no tears in any of the stitches. I'll give you guys a zoom in. Look at that, it's brand new. 15,000 miles, you wouldn't be able to tell. There's no tears in the leather or the pleather, whatever it may be. There's no tears in the stitching. It's looking mint, absolutely brand new. The only issue in build quality with this seat is going to be in the seat pan, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So like I was saying earlier, the worst part about this seat is the under part of the seat, and it doesn't look like anything like bad from here, right? So you've got a very rigid underpan, which actually helps with the comfort of the seat. However, all this leather is dropped down by these rivets, and you'll see here as well, it's wearing into my frame because the pan is so rigid. But what this does is it creates a really good seal for the leather. It makes the leather look good on top. But what is under the seat is the issue. And this actually might stop some of you guys from buying this seat. If you look at my paint, I don't know if you can really tell with this angle, but I've got dents in the paint. I've got pretty big chips in the paint. Take a look at that. Just take a look at it. I've got another one right here. This one's the biggest one. It's awful. And then I've got another one right there. So that's from the rivets in the seat, believe it or not. And if you can see around the set screw is totally fine. There's nothing around the set screw, so you can't see it unless the seat's off, which is the last thing I was gonna say. If you're gonna buy this seat as a 2-up option, and you're gonna swap between a 2-up and a 1-up seat, this is definitely not the seat for you. It's gonna tear up the paint under. The only option I could ever see for fixing that is getting a clear bra or finding some kind of rubber to go over these rivets, because these things are nasty. They will eat into your paint if somebody's sitting on the back. Alright, so real quickly, let's talk about fitment and installation. This is going to be the easiest install video you guys have ever seen, and it's going to take probably 10 seconds with one hand. Anybody can do it. It's got a latch right here on the bottom of the seat. Your frame has got a spot for the latch. Take your seat with one hand, put it on the bike, and you wiggle it forward. Boom, your Saddlemen seat is installed. Alright, fitment. This bike fits great. There's no gaps. There's a little one in the back right now because I don't have the set screw in. But as a means of in between the frame and the rest of the bike, there's no gaps except for one spot. And most people actually won't mind this. Right here where the tank is. The best part about that is that it's not going to screw up your tank. A lot of the baggers, the Saddlemen seats will go up and over the tank, and it'll wear into the tank right here and right here. On these bikes, you don't have to worry about that. It won't even rub the backside of the tank. Fitment's a 10 out of 10. Would not change anything about that. Alright, so let's take a second to stop and talk about fitment and comfort for me. I'm about 6'1", and as you can see me on this bike, it helps me sit a little bit more into the bike instead of on top of it. And the step up, or the vertical section of the seat, really locks you in when you're on the gas hard and on the brakes hard. It's the best part about the seat when you're coming out of the corners and the canyons and ripping hard on the gas. It'll keep you in the seat right where you want to be. It's really good for high performance riding, and it helps keep pushing you forward into the bars. Alright, now let's start off with the last con for this seat. It's a very purpose-built seat, which is a good thing for what it's made for, but it does lack a little bit in comfort. So I've spent 15,000 miles in this seat. And, you know, if you average out 60 miles an hour on these things, if you do a lot of freeway, It equates to about 250 hours sitting in this saddle. You know, I'd say it's great for the canyons, like I said earlier, but I've done some 4 to 6 hour days on this bike before. The fairing does great for wind protection, but I have to say the seat is not great for long distance at all. Saddlemen will tell you the memory foam cell, whatever it is, their patented gel, it's supposed to be super great. It'll increase your ride time. It'll increase your ride time by about 4 to 6 hours. I'll tell you that's not totally true. The foam is all right, the gel's all right. You know, it's good marketing, at least in this seat. But honestly, after a 4 to 6 hour day in this saddle, I'm tired, super tired. There's definitely some stock seats and Harley seats that'll outperform this in terms of distance. So if you're buying the seat looking it to be like a jack of all trades or like a Swiss Army knife kind of seat where it'll do everything that you want, I'd tell you to kind of steer away from that idea. This is really a purpose-built seat that does one thing really, really well, and that's going fast and doing stunts. I don't do stunts. I go fast once in a while, but you know, that's what the seat's made for. And putting this on your bike makes you look like you're one of those guys that goes fast and does stunts, but if you can avoid the cool factor, I definitely recommend going for something a little bit more comfortable if this is gonna be like a daily commuter, or if you're planning on taking long trips on your bike. Or hell, if you got the money, go ahead and buy 2 seats. A cool seat for when you go show off and a comfy seat for later. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if you enjoy these kinds of videos. I got a lot of experience on this bike, so I can tell you a lot about it. I can tell you a lot about these parts and what you should and shouldn't buy, what it's good for, what it's not good for. I apologize about the background noise. I got a mic coming in pretty soon, so it won't be as loud. But, you know, I've got a lot of knowledge and information about a bike like this, so if you like this kind of content, definitely like, subscribe, and leave some comments if you got some questions.